Kelp patty action out of San Diego remains outstanding, and our Malahini trip is less than 24 hours ago. Some great white sea bass fishing going on. Bluefin tuna everywhere right now, but are they biting? We'll have that and so much more. Welcome everybody, it's time for the morning briefing with Friedman Adventures. So great to be with you all, my friends, and I'll tell you there is so much going on, including some outstanding fishing down there in San Diego. We're seeing bluefin tuna all the way up into the Channel Islands. It looks fantastic right now on so many different fronts. And then there are some areas that are not biting that well, but the weather is perfect. If you're looking for a gorgeous time to be out on the water, this is definitely it. Good morning. Thanks for grabbing that cup of coffee and spending some time with us here this morning. We deeply appreciate it. So much to go over, including I just spoke with Jolene Thompson, and Jolene did that great podcast the other night. And I'm telling you, I'm hearing from so many people who raved about her performance. She was so genuine, so real, sharing so many great stories and her love of sport fishing. And of course, she got out of that podcast, and what'd she do? Yeah, you know, she jumped on board the Freedom. She shared a lot of information with me, and I'll get into that with you in just one moment. Let me take you down to the beautiful city of Ensenada, Baja California Norte, where we continue to see the Pongueros down there focusing their efforts on that bluefin tuna, and they're trolling those Mad Max. A lot of that bluefin down there is 20 to 40 pounds right now. There's some kelp patty action going on, and there seems to be more and more yellowfin tuna that are real finicky right now, and they're mixed in some cases with the bluefin tuna. Many years ago, when albacore would mix with bluefin, all of a sudden they wouldn't bite that well. And guys like Leroy, who I decked with on board the Searcher back in the late 70s, would tell you, yeah, you know what? Those bluefin are teaching those things. They're acting like bluefin, or those albacore are acting like the bluefin. So I don't know if that's what's going on, or it's just new fish pushing in. It needs to settle, acclimate, and then it should bite nails. Look out, that could really go here at any point in time. And also, as we look down there in Ensenada, there's a lot of flatheads on the kelps. Those beautiful mahi-mahi, those dorado are pushing up. And that hurricane, perhaps, several hurricanes, one after another, it seems like, down there in Cabo right now, hopefully will continue to push that warm water and fish up. The science on that is iffy, but the empirical evidence suggests that when we see that south swell, we do see an influx of tropical and subtropical stuff, and hopefully it's going to settle in and bite. So Ensenada's focused on that. Now, let's move to San Diego. Guys that are just going straight bluefin tuna, that's kind of in the rearview mirror for a little while. Some of the long-range boats are continuing to hammer out really excellent catches on the BFT. When they have a night to spend on it, it bites very well at night, and the daytime fishing is improving. What I mean by that is, however, that many of the boats are going for that kelp patty action because not only do they have a shot at limits of yellowtail or good yellowtail fishing, not only do they have a shot at dorado, yellowfin tuna, but there are bluefin, and they are settling into bite. Let me take you out right now to the Malahini, because Bill Wilkerson, and I love Bill, he is such a great guy, he's standing by. We'll get a report from Bill, and then I'll be back with lots more in just 1 minute.
Hey guys, Captain Bill from the Malahini out of San Diego, California here. We're on our way back in from our day of fishing. It was pretty good fishing today. You know, we didn't set the world on fire, but we got a piece of them. 2 kelps produced 11 yellowtail, and then foamer after foamer after foamer of bluefin tuna. We hooked a total of 26 yellowtail, landed 11. We hooked a total of 15 or 16 bluefin tuna for our day and landed 4 of those. That bluefin's in that, I want to say 25 to 50 pound class. That yellowtail is in that 12 to 25 to 30 pound class. Check out the video. If you're not on that trip with Phil Friedman Adventures on Friday the 22nd, you might want to call and make a reservation. Things seem to be really picking up here, guys. You need to make a reservation for that trip. You can call 844-619-FISH. That's 844-3474. Or go to the Malahini Sport Fishing website. That's malahinisportfishing.com. And click click on the Book Now tab, make your reservation for the 22nd. We have trips departing through H&M Landing on the 25th. I do believe we will be offshore fishing there. The 31st of July, we will be fishing the Coronado Islands. Make your reservation for that trip. The islands are still producing out that yellowtail and rockfish and calico bass and barracudas and all kinds of good stuff, man. That's it. Peace.
Line. Lift up the line. Lift up the line. Lift up the line. Gotta work at it, guys. Gotta work at it. There's a fire!
All right, Bill Wilkerson, what a great guy. I love fishing with Bill, and I'll be out there with him shortly. Friday, we will, of course, be out there shooting a new Friedman Adventures video. And if you're on that trip, well, I'll get into the tackle here in one moment. Let me give you a few scores, however, as they're pretty impressive. Grande, 36 guys, 119 yellowtail, 2 bluefin tuna, 16 bonita, and 4 dorado. What's wrong with that? The Mustang on an overnight trip, 61 yellowtail, 6 dorado, 14 bluefin. Most of the bluefin, 20 to 40 pounds. Very catchable on 30-pound fluorocarbon. A really good hot bait, but a lot of this fish, and the yellows included, are coming on the Daiwa Sakana type lures. They are working really, really well. So I highly recommend that if you're gonna fish any kind of lure on the kelps or tuna, you're fishing with at least 40, preferably 50 pound. You wanna up it if you're fishing the iron. You wanna lower it if you're fishing the bait. And that should really help you to get the job done on these fish. A couple of other really impressive scores. The Islanders just getting rolling on a multi-day trip. Limits of yellowtail on the kelps. Also the Liberty, 52 bluefin tuna, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Another 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. boat. The San Diego, 20 bluefin tuna, yellowfin tuna, 59 yellowtail. And many other great scores, like the Old Glory. Chappie was coming into our show the other night and sharing so much great information with his sister Jolene. And the Old Glory, 21 guys, 88 yellowtail, 11 dorado. Really nice fishing going on down there in that neck of the woods. All right, if you're on the Malahini tomorrow, or you're on any boat, become part of the process. I mean, look for kelps. Those guys up in the wheelhouse, and if you have somebody up there in the bucket, if there is a bucket, I'm telling you, they are really good at what they do. But sometimes, you know, they're off looking off the bow of the boat. Sometimes there's a kelp to your starboard or port side or back off your stern that just wasn't seen, or breaking fish. And if you see anything like that, tell a crew member. Tell a crew member. Become part of the process. And I know we've got a whole bunch of you guys on the Malahini that are scouring the ocean surface looking for any sign of life, and especially a kelp, as those kelps are really holy. We like Opsin fluorocarbon, www.opsin.usa or opsinusa.com. I'm losing it here this morning. So, and put in FA at checkout, and Greg Brown will handwrite you a personal note as well as send you a gift. Anyway, fluorocarbon, 30 pound, 40 pound, should be really, really good. Choose a good hot bait, get that bait in the water. It doesn't get a bite within a minute, wind it in, change your bait, do it again. But you have to find a good bait. Make sure your hands are wet, you're not knocking the scales off the bait, all very, very important. But a lot of guys will find that great hot bait, pin it on, and then it just sits there in torture, wiggling for 3 minutes, and then it's no good. If it falls on the deck, it's no good. Change your bait regularly, choose a good hot bait, and that will really help you to get the job done. I'll have plenty of Opsin Fluoro for you on board the Malahini. I'm going to give it to the crew, and you just walk back there and say, hey, tie me up with some 25 or 40 pound, and they will take care of you. Thank you, Greg Brown, for taking good care of us on this trip. So really nice kelp patty action going on down there in San Diego. Hopefully that's going to continue, and that south swell is going to push that up into San Clemente Island. There's already some kelps up there. In fact, yesterday on the Clemente, I got to mention this, on the Clemente out of Dana Wharf Sport Fishing, they had some dorado. Mauricio Lopez running the boat, and they got into some flatheads. And it was funny, the other day when we had that kids trip, out of Dana Wharf, I told Mauricio, why don't you take him out there and hit a kelp and knock out some dorado? And we both laughed like, that's probably not going to happen. Well, it is happening, and that fish is starting to move up into this direction. Mauricio, great job down there on the Clemente. I am stoked about that. Really nice fishing going on, and hopefully it's going to continue. So those fish are biting the iron. Those fish are also on the live bait. And let me talk to you about size of fish. There's those 5-pound yellows on the kelps, but there's a lot of 8 to 15-pound yellowtail, and fish right on up to 30 pounds. Wow, those are nice size kelp patty fish. The bluefin, mostly in the 18 to 25-pound class, some fish to 30, and I'm not going to be the guy that tells you leave your heavy stuff at home, because this thing is so fluid. Sometimes, all of a sudden, just like that, you're into that 100-plus pound bluefin tuna. So bring your heavy stuff. You may never get to it, you may never need it, but if you do, you're going to be really thanking the Lord above for a chance to catch a really trophy fish. So bring your heavy, although most of what we are seeing is the smaller grade bluefin tuna, and there is nothing wrong with that. And we're seeing foamer after foamer after foamer down in San Diego. You're going to see it on the Malahini. Whether it settles and bites is a whole different question, but you're going to see a lot of fish. In fact, there's bluefin everywhere. Backside of Catalina, San Clemente Island. Jolene said, as they came back on the Freedom, and I'll go into the Freedom's count in just 1 minute, coming back from San Nicolas Island, they saw a lot of fish between there and Santa Barbara Island. So there is a lot of BFT, and one of these days it's going to settle. It's out on the bank, Tanner Cortez region. It's just everywhere right now. Just needed to bite a little bit better. All right, let me take you to the island situation right now. Down there, Todos Santos Island off Ensenada, a lot of barracuda, few yellowtail. Up there at the Coronado Islands, continued great fishing on yellowtail. A lot of guys are off on the kelps right now, but some guys are still fishing the Coronado Islands, where you do need a passport, and doing quite well on yellows, and nice grade too. A lot of 15 to 20 pound fish. Sometimes you'll catch them on the surface iron, even the yo-yo iron, but a lot of fish coming on a fly line hot bait. We went through that with you. Fluoro is very important. Sometimes you have to drop down to 20 pound, but most times 25 is going to be just perfect, and choosing that good hot bait is super important. All right, moving you up San Clemente Island, the Fury out of Dana Wharf Sport Fishing. They had some good fishing. I believe it was 20 plus on a yellowtail, a couple of white sea bass for them. Excellent fishing going on at Clemente. You do have to fight the sea lions, however, but a lot of boats are in that 10 to 25, 30 range. Thunderbird's been doing really well. Thunderbird loves to also look around for that bluefin tuna on the way home. So we've seen some good fishing. But up there at San Nicolas Island, there is some conking going on again this morning on white sea bass. It seems like that bite is a flash in the morning and then it backs off and you don't catch any more exotics. But hopefully that's going to change. But the pride has been all over the fish again, with limits of white sea bass on a regular basis. That's 3 sea bass per rod. Great fishing going on. And of course on the Freedom the other day, well, there were so many stories, individual little stories. First of all, let me tell you what Jolene told me. First thing she wanted to emphasize was the crew on the Freedom. Fantastic. And I've got to second that. They are so good. I mean, their people skills, fantastic. And that means a lot to me when I see guys who are good with people, who are teachers. They want you to catch a fish. You walk on the boat for the first time. There was a young lady on there, Astrid. She got a halibut her first time out. And her boyfriend is an avid fisherman and really, really good. So he tutored her. But besides that, that crew is absolutely fantastic. It doesn't get much better than that. And of course, Jolene said, she mentioned all that bluefin they saw. She mentioned that most of the squid were on the live squid. They started with dropper loop fishing, and then they switched over and fished a sliding egg. Live squid was the way to go. The Pride passed squid over to them, and they were all fixed up. And Dan Deegan. Dan, good morning, my friend. Dan and I hope you caught that interview. Dan is prevailing in a battle against leukemia, and his first fishing trip back was on board the Freedom. So many of us were praying that Dan would get a fish. Did he get a fish? He got the first fish. It was a big white sea bass. What an accomplishment. I mean, you talk about karma, you talk about being blessed. Dan was blessed with a gorgeous white sea bass. And of course, Jolene Thompson shot many photos for us, and you got to see Dan. He graces our cover here today with that white sea bass. Dan, continued great health to you, my friend, and way to go. So we are seeing some conking on the sea bass. You heard what's really working best. It seems like it's a morning thing and then it's over. Fluorocarbon, I like fluoro, even on dropper loop fishing. You know, even when it's in the dark, I just like it's abrasion resistance, and it gets bit better. But you do what you want. A lot of guys fish straight mono. I know Steve Bermudez, he was up in the Channel Islands, fished straight mono, and did really, really well. So we are seeing some outstanding white sea bass fishing, but it's a quick shot in the morning, and then it's over, and hopefully that's going to continue. And of course, all those boats up there that are fishing the sea bass are getting copious amounts of sheep's head and rockfish and whitefish when they turn their efforts toward that. So really excellent fishing going on in that neck of the woods. Catalina Island, still kind of hit and miss, but the pursuit had a big, gorgeous yellowtail fish that was 40 plus pounds. They're saying 50 pounds. Beautiful fish, no question about that. Gale Force was over there, had a couple yellows and 52 calico bass. Freelance made the trip across, as many of these 6 a.m. boats here are doing. He fished rockfish, did well on that, so everybody had some good eating fish, and then a little bit of bonita, bass, barracuda, just a little bit, nothing to write home about, but not bad. Hopefully that's going to continue. And up there in the Channel Islands, it's been a little more hit and miss lately on the white sea bass. Some guys limiting out on the white sea bass up there. It is definitely the epicenter of sea bass fishing, although this San Nicolas and Santa Barbara island bite is really getting good. It's been excellent for a while now, and that looks good. And we can, it's still part of the Channel Island chain. All this stuff is Catalina and everything else. But everybody, when you say Channel Islands, you're talking about up there off Oxnard and Ventura and that neck of the woods. Some guys are getting them, some guys are not. But you start with dropper loop in many cases. Other times you're fishing with a sliding egg sinker up there. Live squid, the key, and it's been pretty good. Aloha Spirit, Endeavor, a few fish up there. Other times wide open. So that Channel Island bite, wow, they have been all over it. Incidentally, Ventura Sport Fishing, 805-676-3474. Tucker McCombs doing his thing up there. There's some darn good local fishing that we'll talk about here in just a second longer. So good stuff going on up and down the coast, no question about that. Also, as we take a look along the coast, there is a lot of this rockfish and sculpin stuff going on. I mean, guys got to do what guys got to do. Surface bite has not been consistent and good over the vast majority of areas right now, so a lot of guys are doing that. And the only reason I mention that is because we're starting to kind of look at August right now. This is a time when we're normally hammering on the surface fish, but a little bit of bass up and down the coast, a few barracuda here and there. Gotta love the Clemente with those dorado, however. Man, that is really an exciting thing to see and portends a great future for all of us. I think we're all going to be catching some kelp patty fish here on the Enterprise, on board the all these boats up here as soon as that fish and those kelps get pushed up here a little further. I'm thinking it's going to be a really exciting fall in many, many areas. I really think that it's setting up for an incredible fall bite. Up there in the Channel Islands, however, man, Cody Rogers and the Island Spirit, great fishing with 100 plus barracuda yesterday. They had 138 whitefish, a few bass here and there, and some other additional rockfish, but that's some darn good shooting on the barracuda, no question about it. Surface iron, the only way to catch gar, and it was really, really good. Incidentally, what a gorgeous morning, man. It is absolutely beautiful here. So Channel Islands really good. Ventura Sport Fishing, Island Spirit doing great. The old Matt Walsh, which is now the California, can fish these zones in many cases, also out of Ventura. So we'll continue to watch that for you very, very closely. Coral Sea up there out of Santa Barbara with good rock fishing. Great, great rock fishing up there in that neck of the woods. Folks, it is setting up beautifully for a great fall bite. Where's my albacore? I don't know. Man, those things are out there frolicking in the cold water. At least I'd like to believe that. But it looks like that prediction is rapidly going like that. We'll see. I mean, nobody's going to go out and troll around in cold water, cool water, I should say, out past the dumping ground. Man, there's too many opportunities close to home. And you are going to be entertained if you get out on a boat. And I guarantee you're going to be entertained on board the Malahini tomorrow, because you're going to see a lot of foamers, and hopefully we'll find that golden kelp. Remember, kelp patty fishing is a numbers game. The more you find, the better your chances, because you hit a kelp and it's dry, or you hit a kelp and you don't catch much. And then you hit a kelp and it goes like this, bendo. And that's the one we're looking for. So everybody on board, make sure you're a participant and not a spectator. All right, I'm going to have a lot more for you. I'll keep you in touch with the very latest, and I'll see many of you tomorrow morning on board the Malahini, and I sincerely look forward to it. 4,000 subscribers now to Friedman Adventures, and we got our eyes on 5,000 and then 10,000. All thanks to you. So many of you are leaving comments. You're hitting the like button. You're sharing with your neighbors and loved ones. And I can't thank you enough for doing that, because in a very short time, we are back in the game, and it is so great to be with you all. Take care, my friends. Have a wonderful day today, and I'll see you again really soon here on Friedman Adventures.